Welcome to Wealthy Mind, where we talk about all things finances, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the surprising. Welcome to Wealthy Mind. I am your host, Misty Rosegold, International Success Coach, and we are helping you create and maintain a wealthy mind. And I have back with me once again, Geoff Eliason. Did I say it right?
You got it.
Yes, I am so proud of me. I recorded the clip from you saying your name so I would listen back to
Misty, that's why you are a absolute professional.
it.
That is going the extra mile.
I did. I was like, I'm gonna nail this. Elias, come on. I just need to hear Geoff say it over and over and over again in my head.
I love it.
Yeah. So tell the audience what you do again, please.
Sure. Thank you, Misty. As Misty said so well, my name's Geoff Eliason. I serve as CEO of an investment bank located in Denver called SDR Ventures. We help business owners, namely founders and entrepreneurs, prepare for exiting their company and the actual exit or sale of the business itself. That's about 90% of what we do across virtually all industries and across the entire country. We also help business owners, founders, entrepreneurs raise capital for their company and also look for acquisition targets. If they're looking to grow by acquiring other businesses, we help them through that journey. And so we've been doing this for 23 years, and it's an absolute pleasure to be part of this podcast and all the good work that Misty is doing for the business owner community, not only in the United States, but around the world. So, Misty, thank you so much, both from myself and from the listeners that you serve with excellence.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I love gratitude. And thank you for sharing the other side of STR, which is you guys will find the right investments to grow, to merge, to expand a business.
Yeah.
I know you have some minimums that you work with in that space, and that's totally fine. Everybody has a different structure in their business, but that's cool. It's not just about the exit. Like 90% of what you do is about the exit, but there's another side of it that people aren't familiar with. So I'm learning so much about the M&A space through all of our conversations, off screen, on screen, all the things. Like, I love it. So anything I'm learning from you, it's like, cool, I want the audience to know that too, so they can understand what truly goes into the M&A space and that world that you are in every single day.
Misty, it's a really exciting dynamic part of the financial community. And
Mm,
a lot of that is really because the very fabric of this country, when you look at GDP or gross domestic product, the majority are small businesses. And
mm,
then within those small businesses, companies that are valued anywhere from 3 to 5 million up to 100 million.
mm,
That is the absolute fabric of this country. And a lot of those businesses were founded by the baby boomer generation. And I just read this week that that generation is at the very peak of those that are age 65.
mm,
And so there is a incredible, insatiable appetite among those baby boomer business owners to really understand how do I finish well and how do I carry on this legacy of a business that I spent in some cases decades
Hmm.
from the ground up. And so it's a real honor for us at SDR and for myself as an individual to help, whether it's the baby boomer or the entrepreneur, um, maybe a millennial, Gen X, Gen Z, shepherd that business.
And not just that, but you're making their dreams come true, even dreams that they didn't even know they could think of.
It's true.
It's like you're painting dreams for them of, wow, this is possible. Wait,
Well,
hold
it's
on.
funny that you said that. That's part of what I enjoy in our collaboration. What I've observed among business owners is they start with a vision
Hmm.
and they step out and they create a company. And then by and large, their execution of that vision is to put their head down and serve their customer or client with excellence one day at a time, day in and day out, year in and
Hmm.
year out. And then all of a sudden they lift their head up and 10 years has passed, or 30 years has passed, or maybe generations have passed. And they lift their head up and they say, okay, what do I do with this?
Hmm.
And everyone's circumstances is different for the reason they lift their head up, but somehow they lift their head up from serving their customers and clients with excellence. And they ask themselves, okay, what do I do next?
Hmm.
What, and that's where you and I come in with that canvas that already has some lines and some color to it,
Hmm.
um, but needs um, to be refined. And that's a real
Definitely.
joy.
It is. It's so amazing to do that with people. It's showing them what's possible, take the limitations off. And they don't, sometimes people just don't know. And I get to share that kind of vision with people on a regular basis of, hey, well, you've given me these options, but how about third or fourth? Like, there's other things that are possible too. And they're like, really? And it's based on like, do people dare to believe in themselves? And something that I look at is their risk tolerance. How familiar, how familiar are you with taking risks and being brave? That's going to help me determine where you're at with your future vision. So, I mean, there's a
Wow,
lot that
that's
comes
really
into it.
interesting. And I think to just unpack that further, the question that comes up almost immediately is um, it feels good and it feels pretty safe for my identity to be wrapped up in this business. Um, but it doesn't take much reflection to realize that at some point life has to go beyond that identity.
Hmm.
And can I believe that there's an identity greater and more fulfilling beyond the identity of that business or entrepreneur? Will people still want to talk to me?
Hmm.
Will I still have a voice after that's gone? And I think that's one of the most critical parts of what you bring to the business owner is the resounding answer. If you have the courage and you're willing to sit in what can be an uncomfortable spot, the answer is yes, without question.
Hmm.
Without
Oh,
question.
100%. I just went through that identity shift this week myself. So I have one of my stories becoming a commercial for Red M, the Red M organization.
Yeah.
And I've been given an opportunity to talk with a movie producer to turn my life story into a movie.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So, like,
Well, that takes courage.
it does. And in wrapping my head around how that changes the dynamics of my life and my identity and everything else. So, yes, it's an up leveling, but I had to receive the change that it's going to create.
Mm.
So, yes, so much of my identity is wrapped up as a success coach for business owners and executives. Like, I love it. And it's something that I'm always going to do. It's my passion, it's my calling. But this is just an additional layer of it so I can attract more people to work
How do
with
you go
more
about when
people.
you say receiving? What does that look like, or what does that mean?
Now, this is something I deal with on a daily basis with my clients is getting them into the right frame of mind, the right frame of emotion, and the right frame of energy to receive. Because a lot of people will block consciously and unconsciously. They will block what life could potentially bring them because it might be uncomfortable, it might be unfamiliar, whatever the case is. But a lot of people don't know what those limitations are within themselves. So I had a conversation recently with a client and I was like, all right, let's figure out what your money blocks are because you're not open to receiving.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, let's figure it out. So we figured out that two of them, there could be more, but two of them that presented themselves that day were fear and unforgiveness.
Huh.
So fear will shut you down and block you. So think about opening up your energy to receive and opening up your heart to receive. If your heart is not open to receive, there's something blocking that.
Okay.
So I had to go through this process myself this week to receive these things, to receive these opportunities, and to receive the changes that they bring, and to receive this massive up-leveling of respect that people will have for me and all the different things. And what does that look like? And will it put me in a position where people are knocking down my door to work with me? Yes. And
Hmm.
what does that look like? How do I manage that? All that stuff and not shutting it down from fear, not shutting it down from trying to control the process and just open, receive, and naturally let it unfold. But a lot of people get stuck in this one space where they're fearful of stepping into the unknown, and the unknown is where all the possibilities and the adventure lies. So anyway, does that answer your question?
Yeah, there's a lot of depth to that. That's amazing.
hmm
Well, like I said, it's a real credit to you because that takes courage, and I'm sure that inspires everyone listening.
I hope so. And, when I talk about risk tolerance, it's not about investing in money. It's about your risk tolerance in life in general and in business. And how brave are you? Are you used to being brave? Are you used to taking risks? And I started taking risks when I was a kid, basically.
Yeah.
My first step of massive bravery was leaving home at 15 years old, and that set the tone for everything else.
Wow.
So I'm used to it. My risk tolerance is very high. I'm a risk taker. I'm a brave person, which means I will step into a space, I will step into the unknown and hang out there because I like hanging out there. Even though it's scary sometimes and nerve-wracking at times, that's my favorite place to hang out. That's where I feel alive. That's where I feel unlimited possibilities. And this is where it's gotten me.
And then how do you, what do you say to the person that doesn't have that risk appetite? What does life look like for them?
Pretty unfulfilled.
Do you think we can learn to be risk takers?
100%. We all have it in us. It's just like working out. It's like building a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Right, right. Yeah.
hmm Yeah. So if you guys are willing to take risks and be brave and step into the unknown, really cool shit can happen.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's exciting.
hmm It is.
And as you said, that's a life well lived.
Definitely. I am so proud of me for the life I've lived. I'm so proud of me for taking risks. I'm so proud of me for failing countless times. I'm so proud of me for just being brave
Yep, yep.
and doing it with a heart for people.
But I think that's the key. And that's probably your personal why is derived from that heart for people.
It is. Yes, it is. Definitely. So that brings me to the question I want to ask you today. What is your favorite, or what, I'm not going to say favorite part. What do you love about being the CEO of SDR Ventures?
So what I love about serving as CEO of SDR is it gives me personally a platform to serve other people.
Mm,
And it gives me a really wide and deep platform, whether it
mhm,
is our team, it could be vendors and service providers that we work with, and we
mhm,
work with a lot of service providers, our clients, um, and then you have the ripple effect that carries to the loved ones,
mhm,
that surround all of those people. And so I want to share a story that was really the beginning for me of that journey to have a life dedicated to um, impacting
mhm.
people, and
Love it.
serving people. Um, I set out to have a career in finance, growing up in the Chicagoland area, a kid of the 1980s, um, you know, and it was the pinnacle of Reaganomics, capitalism, growth, and Chicago was at the heart of that, in addition to New York City. And so young men like myself would look around, and the heroes at that time were the guys that were part of the financial community.
Mm,
And they were heroes because of uh, their financial wherewithal within the financial community. Um, and, as a young, immature individual, I thought the path to happiness, joy, and fulfillment was in making as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time. Uh, and it was very clearly laid out for you in Chicago or New York. To do that was within the capital markets or within the financial community. And
mm,
so the way that you did that was by going to a university and getting a finance degree, and then going back to Chicago or New York and working in finance. And so that's what I set out to do.
mhm,
Um, as I was finishing my finance degree, at the age of 21, I get a call from my mom, and she says, "Hey, your grandfather is approaching the end of his life. You should drive back home and see him at the hospital." This was my dad's dad. So I said, "Okay, that sounds good." And so I pull up to the hospital, get off the elevator. I'm walking to my granddad's hospital room, where he is very clearly at the end of his life. And this was the first time I had ever witnessed someone at the end of their life,
mm.
let alone someone I loved and cared deeply for.
Life changing.
It was life changing.
Mm,
And so I walked into the hospital room, and I saw this man that was an absolute fraction of who he was as I knew him. And fortunately, fortunately, was very introspective, am very introspective, very reflective, a very contemplative person, both at the age of 21 and today. And I looked at this man and I thought to myself, wow, you really come in with nothing and you leave with nothing
Mm,
outside of the impact you have on
mm,
people around you.
mm,
And it was very visual. I could see it, you could
mhm,
smell it. He was on the very cusp of death. And so we shared a moment. He was not, we talked, which was good. Um, and I left that hospital room thinking to myself, how uh futile it would be if I had dedicated my life to making money and spending money.
mm.
Is that what I just witnessed in that hospital room?
Yeah.
And the obvious answer was no. And so it was at that moment, and for me, for some people, it's an evolution. For me, it was a very, very distinct moment. In that hospital room, I said, I am going to dedicate my life to impacting the lives of those around me. And that is done through service.
Mhm,
And so then that just comes in different forms and with different platforms.
mhm,
Uh, could be as a husband, it could be as a father, could be as a coach.
mhm,
Um, it could be within the faith community, within your church. It could be in the business community,
mhm.
but every single day I show up and think to myself, okay, here I am, use me to serve other people.
Same.
And I think if we go day after day with that mindset and that heart,
Mhm,
um, one, good things tend to happen. Not
mhm.
always, because you know the difficulties of life do occur.
Yes, they
But
do.
to me, I can look at myself in the mirror every single day, and then at the end of my life, look back and have a real sense of fulfillment. Because hopefully that legacy that's left is one of service.
Mm,
And then from that point on, um, I've always had a real bent towards leadership. And so over time, that's brought me to leadership, whether it's through, coaching kids and athletes to developing people within a financial organization.
mhm.
Um, that gives me life. But I also see, it my natural strengths play into that. And so to bring the question back full circle,
Mhm.
from that single moment in my granddad's hospital room, and he died almost immediately after our meeting, it has been a life dedicated to helping other people. So today at SDR, what does that look like? Well, with our clients, it means helping them with the single biggest decision financially they'll make, and that is selling their business.
Mm.
Um, but it also looks like um, helping our team develop professionally,
Sure.
helping them make an impact on other people, whether it's their families or our clients. Um, Creating a life-giving environment for our staff, the service providers and vendors,
Mm,
attorneys, wealth managers, anybody within our ecosystem,
mhm.
creating a life-giving environment. And that's what I try to show up and do every single day. And then what I have found over decades now is that however someone keeps score, whether it's profit, revenue, dollars, whatever,
Mhm.
uh, those things end up taking care of themselves when you take care of people.
It's true. Very true.
So that's what I enjoy most, Misty. And that's when my time on earth is complete, I hope that that's what is acknowledged in a eulogy.
Hmm.
Geoff loved his wife, loved his kids extremely well. He was a man of faith, first and foremost, and looked for every opportunity as a platform to love others extremely well. And so I hope that that's what's said about me.
Mm.
And it's definitely what I enjoy every day.
Well, if you live it, therefore it will be said about you.
I think so. I I think so. Hopefully what I said isn't smoke and mirrors.
I'm sure that's what will be said about you. So I appreciate you really opening up and being vulnerable with the audience and letting them know that who you are. You know, you're not just the CEO of SDR Ventures. You're an actual person, but there's so much more to you than that. And I respect you so much more. Every time we talk, I respect you more and more because you show up to serve, because you show up to be that person that focuses on being a good person. And you are also a living, breathing example to the general public that you can be a good person and be extremely successful.
I
Because,
appreciate it.
there is a lie circulating out there that in order to be successful, you have to be an asshole. That's not true. It,
Or that, you know what, and to say that another way, that this is life is a zero-sum game and there's a winner and a loser, and I need to figure out how to be the winner, and that means you're going to be the loser.
hmm,
I just don't buy into that.
me either. There's enough for everybody.
There's enough for everybody, and whatever the analogy you want to use, all boats rise. Um, but no matter what, winning
Hmm.
occurs by helping other people win.
100%. So that reminds me of one of my favorite books, The Go-Giver.
Oh, that's a good one. That's
Yes.
a really good one, by the way.
Hmm.
That's a
Yep.
really good book.
I
That
love
should be
it.
on everybody's short list.
It should be. It sums up everything that we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, that's an excellent book, by the way.
Hmm. And it's a story. It's not, it's, there's a lot of nonfiction and a fictional story. So I love that it's in a story format. It's very easy to digest. It's an easy read. You can sit down and just take it all in one setting. It's
Yeah, it's quick,
amazing. It's
but
powerful.
profound.
Yeah. I love that book. When I found that book, I was like, ooh, confirmation that I'm on the right path because this is my life.
Yeah, that's it's really solid.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that the other thing that I enjoy a lot, and it ties into this conversation, is that every single person walking the street on earth has a story.
Mm,
Um, and they bring with that victory and challenge,
hmm.
trauma,
Hmm.
pain, sorrow, joy, everything.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I love hearing people's stories. They inspire me.
Mm,
They absolutely inspire me, like every single person. And so I happen to be in an industry where I get to hear people's stories every single day. And so I enjoy that as well.
mm,
It it gives me life, it inspires me,
hmm.
it brings me joy, it encourages me, and I really appreciate that I was able to share my story,
Mm.
namely that singular moment.
Mm-hmm.
That was it was defining.
Yeah. We all have those moments, and I love that you're even more fulfilled in the work that you do because you get to hear people's stories. There's so many layers to your fulfillment, and I'm pleased to learn more of those layers.
But if I was going to challenge the audience with one thing,
Hmm.
um, what do you do with those moments? And you touched on it earlier. You got to have a level of courage. Like, I had to have ears and eyes in that hospital room
Hmm.
to receive what was being given to me by someone at the end of their life.
Yeah.
Because I could have been just a punk kid that was like, okay,
Whatever.
whatever, I'm just going to go get mine, you know. But
Yeah.
instead, for some reason, and I can't tell you totally why, but for some reason, at the age of 20 or 21, I was able to look at this man and say,
Mm.
wow, okay, there's more to life than how much money I can make and how much money I can spend. And I'm going to use this, and it may be a little uncomfortable. It may be a risk.
Mm.
Um, like yourself, to take it back to the beginning of the conversation, um, for whatever reason, I leaned into that, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, I'm so glad you did, and I'm going to challenge the audience with your words. You come in with nothing and you leave with nothing, so make it count.
Heck yeah.
And it doesn't
Without question.
count. It does not count if you're just living for yourself and your heart is shut down. It just does not count.
Yep.
So I am currently working on two books, one of which addresses that issue.
Oh, wow. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah. So it's called The Ultimate Spanking and How to Avoid It. It's such a great title. I love it. Uh, it's the ultimate spanking is to live a life of never loving and never being loved.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So it's pretty powerful. I have an exercise I've been doing with people for eons that helps them to really identify, well, what is love? What isn't? All those things. And then how do I act in that space?
Mm.
Because a lot of people don't understand what it is to love and be loved. So, anywho, it's a simple concept, but very powerful. And
And what's the second one?
oh, it's my story.
Oh, good. Got it. Very good.
Yeah. So the title of that one is Me, and the subtitle is The Bravest Person I Know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And when do you anticipate publishing or releasing the two?
When they're finished.
Okay.
It's a creative, excuse me, it's a creative process.
I understand.
Yep.
For better or for worse, I'm not a creative person.
Hmm.
And so it's like in my mind, it's like, all right, so when do you, what's the timeline? And
Hmm.
and that's definitely a look into someone that's not a creative person.
Yeah. So,
Assumes that you just have a deadline that you're forced to meet.
nope. I've known my entire life that I would write my story at some point, and I got the inspiration on the 16th of February. So when the inspiration hit, the title came, the outline of the book came, the format, all of it, I was like, all right, let's go.
Cool.
Uh, the ultimate spanking and how to avoid it, I've been working on that for years. And 2 days later, on the 6th, the 18th, I got the clarity for that book too. And I scrapped the old one, kept the title,
Huh.
scrapped the old one completely. I was like, done. Awesome. This is it. Let's go. So, yeah, creative process
Awesome.
is pretty amazing and you have to surrender to it. And I
Yeah, you
surrendered
can't
to it.
force it.
Yeah. And when it hits, you do it and that's it. So Anywho, we are getting off on some bunny trails. Let's go ahead and wrap up this amazing conversation. And thank you for letting the audience know who you are and what motivates you every single day, and that you can be a good person and serve others and be extremely successful. So I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you, Misty. It was a pleasure, and thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit about me that not too many people know, but now probably a lot of people know.
And thank you for being brave to let the public know.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. A real pleasure, actually. Thank you.
Good. Excellent. Well, I am looking forward to seeing you soon. So I hope you have an amazing weekend.
Very good. You too.
And thank you for your time.
Thanks, Misty.
All right. Until next time, everyone, we will see you soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Wealthy Mind podcast. Please be sure to download the Wealthy Mind app today and make sure to support your local Dress for Success.